we're back with one last big box of adult books. I'm Eliza.
Amber.
And I don't know, yeah, we should get through this. This is a really big box, so it's exciting.
Oh, so many things.
A lot of things people have been like actively waiting for.
Talking to Strangers. What we should know about the people we don't know. Oh, by Malcolm Gladwell.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote The Outliers and
Blink.
And Blink.
I
actually read a couple of Tipping Point. I think maybe that's the one that I read. Why do our interactions with strangers so often go wrong? Oh, this seems really... I think he's done it again. I would read this.
Yes, I want to read it. How to Be Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. And this is a book that's been really popular and getting a lot of attention. And I think basically the idea is that the goal is to not just not be racist, but to actually be anti-racist.
Hence the title.
Hence the title.
The Floating Feldmans by Elyssa Friedland. It looks like maybe it's supposed to be kind of funny.
I think it's about a family that all takes a cruise together, but they don't get along.
Yeah.
A classic premise.
Classic. Based on real world events.
Ooh, here's another one on my list. After the Flood. I mean, I don't think we need like more.
I really like the title.
I really like the cover. And I like the title. I don't know. I guess we don't really need more post-apocalyptic fiction, but I think this is specifically about a woman like trying to raise her kids in a world after like just huge floods have really decimated all of America's coastal cities.
We're not that far from the coast, so
it does feel a little personal.
If you lived here, you'd be home by now. Why we traded the commuting life for a little house on the prairie. What? They uprooted life and moved to a very tiny place.
There's like a whole story behind this.
Yeah, and it's like not... I think this is a very specific thing.
Basically,
it's listed as biography.
Yeah, it's a biography. Basically, it's like this reporter guy looked at like federal data about the best places to live and like calculated what was the worst place to live according to this data.
There.
Yeah, and so then first he wrote a blog post about it, and everybody got really mad at him because they were like, "That's a really nice place. Why is it the worst place?" And he was like, "Well, I was just looking at the data." But they were living in Baltimore, and his family was super miserable, so. Everybody started to joke. They were like, "You should move there," and then they were like, "Okay," and they did. And then he wrote a book about it. But it is interesting because like a lot of people want to live in cities, but then like cities are really expensive and stressful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do not live in a city. Oh, sorry, I stole yours, kind of. Here, I'll do this one.
She's been doing that like a lot. I'm just saying.
Next one, I'll just be like, shh. So this is the newest book by Randall Munroe, who wrote What If and Thing Explainer, and he's like an internet cartoonist who writes about sciencey stuff.
Oh, this is the book that she previewed to see what it's about, and it looks kind of
looks fun. And his other books did well at the library. They're kind of like it's like goofy science because he's very funny, but then he's also just like any like opportunity to like calculate the volume of something or calculate how much energy you would need to do something. Like he's just like is all over that.
Yeah, like so it looks like maybe more of a funny. I'll leave that one to you. Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. It's about the influence of history on a contemporary family. Two families, different social classes. Opens in 2001. It explores sexual desire and identity, ambition, gentrification, education class.
She wrote After Brooklyn. And she used to write kids' books. I've read some of her kids' books, but none of her adult books. Okay, I'll do this one. This is Margaret Atwood's new book. Whoa, it's the same on both sides.
It has like 400 holes.
Oh, no, it's not exactly the same. Look, it's deceptive. See, here's like the Handmaid, and then here's like a girl with a ponytail. Or maybe a woman with a ponytail. Oh, even weirder, it's got like a person here. Craziness going on with this cover
I'm assuming
design.
is this related to The Handmaid's Tale?
I thought it was a sequel, 15 years after the events of The Handmaid's Tale.
Explains why it has so many holds.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't reread The Handmaid's Tale in a long time, so I don't know if I
haven't
would...
either. And I don't think that I will.
I think there's going to be a lot of people who are, though.
Yeah. Blowout by Rachel Maddow. Corrupted democracy, rogue state Russia, and the richest, most destructive industry on earth.
That's a lot of stuff.
Big oil and gas versus democracy, winner take all. So this is heavy stuff.
And
I
she's
feel like that
local,
says it all.
right?
Is she?
I think she lives...
She lives in New York City. Oh, and Massachusetts. But I mean, she's a famous TV personality. So...
The Last Train to London, and this, I think, is, I'm going to say World War II, haha. I mean, it's not really funny, but we do get a lot of World War II. And this one is about a, it's 1936, so things haven't gotten, like, quite as bad.
So gonna get
And this is about smuggling children out of Nazi occupied lands. And one specific woman who's doing that. So that sounds like good, rich historical fiction.
Yeah. The Water Dancer by Ta-Nahisi Coates. Coates. What did she write? She wrote something. He
writes nonfiction too. He writes like for the
There's
Atlantic.
something. I feel like there was something more recent.
He wrote a letter to his. Is he the one who wrote a letter to his son? Maybe that they made into a book. That's a really intense cover.
Oh, young Hiram Walker was born into bondage. His mother was sold away. Oh, it looks like a lot.
It's about slavery.
It's about slavery in the Deep South.
Which is hard to write about and hard to read about, but I think he will have a lot of readers. I know his nonfiction has been really popular. Another very popular author, Tracy Chevalier, who I think is a woman, yes, and wrote Girl with the Pearl Earring, and then lots of other historical fiction.
The Education of an Idealist by Samantha Power, winner of the Pulitzer Prize. What can one person do?
She worked for Obama. She was...
There's a lot. Oh, war-torn Bosnia, to the White House Situation Room. And it's just a biography. It's a biography of her, but it sounds like she's...
Oh, I thought it was by her. It's not...
I think it's by her, but it's also under the biography. It's a memoir.
Oh, a memoir.
But they have pictures.
Pictures.
So that's nice.
The Secrets We Keep by Laura Prescott. The Cold War. A literary page turner. I like literary page turners. 3 unforgettable women who are in the CIA's typing pool and then become spies. It's a good premise for a book.
Cold Storage by David he's the screenwriter of Jurassic Park, Spider-Man, and War of the Worlds. It's about 3 strangers who must work together to contain a highly contagious, deadly organism. I mean, that sounds kind of exciting. Yeah.
It got good reviews. Sometimes when people sort of jump industries, you don't really know what's going on, but it got really good reviews. Oh, The Chestnut Man, spelled by Soren Sveistrup. And this is about a psychopath who's killing people in Copenhagen and cutting them up. So this does not sound like my personal kind of book, but I think that a lot of people do really like these dark Scandinavian mysteries.
Wow. Do we have any by that author?
I don't know.
Doesn't sound familiar.
It does have like a very creepy title though, because like it's all red and then you sort of see that this is like, or not a creepy, it has a creepy cover, like this is like a head and a person. I don't know.
Elevator Pitch by Linwood Barclay. It's another one of those like covers that's kind of doing weird text. I don't know. It's an edge of your seat thriller that does for elevators what Psycho did for showers. heart-pounding tale of terror and menace. So I feel like there's no, like...
Elevators are, like, intrinsically a little bit scary anyways, so...
So now be terrified of them.
Oh, look! The new book by Attica Locke. We actually just chose to do her other book, one of her other books, Bluebird, for book club. So that is really good timing. I guess this is the sequel to Bluebird, about the same characters, maybe? And it takes place down in Texas.
Robert B. Parker's The Bitterest Pill by Reed Farrell Coleman. Opioid epidemic. And the police chief who rushes to stop the devastation.
J.A. Jance, Sins of the Fathers. And suspense thriller. Oh, we're running out of space.
The Nanny by Gilly McMillan. Gilly. Conjures a dark and unpredictable tale of twisted love and misplaced trust. 1987, and then also 30 years later. So one of those that kind of like goes back to your devastating childhood moment.
And she's written other ones that I think have been popular.
Odd Child Out, I think that.
Yeah.
And what she
like
knew.
I can picture the covers.
Yeah.
Whoa, even more suspense thrillers. This one's called Never Look Back by Alison Gaylin, who I think is new. Does that sound familiar to you?
It sounds a little familiar, yeah.
Oh. Whoa. Sounds so crazy. So 1976, teenage murderers terrorized Southern California, killing dozens of victims, or did they? And then 40 years later, a podcaster gets a shocking message from a source and believes one of them may be alive. That sounds a little different, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe more detailed than...
Yeah.
Craig Johnson, Land of Wolves. Is it based on Longmire?
I think maybe Longmire is based on his series, but then he's like still writing new books. It's an active series.
Very interesting. Very much like a Western, I think.
Yeah. And I've heard they're really good mysteries. Oh, Emma Donoghue, who wrote Room, which I was like still traumatized by Room. So this is called Akin, and sounds like maybe not quite as intense. A retired New York professor's life is thrown into chaos when he takes a young great-nephew to France in hopes of uncovering his own mother's secrets from World War II. That sounds interesting. She's a really good writer.
The last one, The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. End of Second World War. And this person goes from poverty to enormous wealth to buy the Dutch House, an estate in Philadelphia. The story is told by The Sun.
Instead of blurbs from famous people on the back, they have reviews from all the professional journals, and it says starred reviews for all of them, which is like really good. I mean, she's a really amazing writer.
It's set over the course of 5 decades and is a dark fairy tale about 2 smart people who cannot overcome their past.
Like
Dark
maybe,
fairy
this
tale.
is like
That
maybe
sounds
one that
interesting.
might be good on audio. Sometimes these really dense books I like to listen to them on audio.
We're finally done. Thank you for watching the long video.